In the 1970s, Pennsylvania's steel mills churned at full force. Coal trains rumbled day and night, and Philadelphia's population neared 2 million as the nation celebrated its bicentennial. This place didn't just feel important, it was the engine of America's future. But if everyone believed their way of life was unshakable, what warning signs did they miss? Steel mills along the Monongahela and Allegheny rivers pushed out more than 30 million tons of raw steel each year in the early 1970s, nearly a third of America's total output. At peak, Pennsylvania's mills ran around the clock, their open hearth furnaces lighting the night sky. Coal mines, especially in the West and Northeast, produced close to 100 million tons annually, fueling factories and power plants across the country. Barges loaded with coal and steel crowded the Monongahela, with nearly 50,000 tows a year moving more than 70 million tons of cargo. Philadelphia's manufacturing plants turned out textiles, machine tools, and locomotives, adding to the state's industrial weight. All told, these industries supported hundreds of thousands of jobs and sent Pennsylvania's products to every corner of the nation, making the state's output essential to the country's growth and daily life. Across Pennsylvania, a quiet sense of confidence shaped daily life. Farm fields in Lancaster and the rolling hills of the Susquehanna Valley produced steady crops, feeding both local towns and distant cities. In 1976, Philadelphia drew 1.5 million people for the nation's bicentennial celebrations, a reminder of the state's historic role and its pride in being at the heart of American identity. Neighborhoods buzzed with optimism, and families believed that a good job, whether in a plant, a mine, or on a farm, meant security for life. The promise of steady work and union wages gave people the freedom to buy homes, raise children, and look ahead without fear. For many, the future felt as reliable as the seasons and as certain as the passing of shift whistles and church bells. This confidence was woven into the fabric of towns, cities, and rural communities alike. A steelworker's week in 1975 started before sunrise, boots on the floor and a quick breakfast before heading out to the mill. The pay stub in his pocket showed $12.80 an hour, enough to cover a mortgage, keep a car in the driveway, and set something aside for the kids' futures. Overtime was common, especially when a furnace needed tending past midnight. After a long shift, the union hall came alive with laughter and clinking bottles, men swapping stories about foremen and the latest contract rumors. Weekends meant Saturday softball in the park, the company team wearing matching shirts with the union's logo. For families, these wages brought steady meals, summer vacations at Presque Isle, and new appliances in Avocado Green, a real sense of stability. The promise felt simple: work hard. Stick with the mill, and the job would take care of you. At the time, few doubted that promise. The steelworkers' pride ran deep, shared across neighborhoods where nearly every porch light belonged to someone on the same shift rotation. A coal miner's day often began in darkness, long before the sun touched the hills outside Scranton or Shamokin. Breakfast was quick, sometimes just black coffee and a slice of bread, before heading to the mine entrance with a battered lunch pail in hand. The descent underground started before 6, the cage rattling down past layers of rock and dust. Shifts lasted 8 hours, but the hours felt longer in the close air, where every breath carried the taste of coal. Pay envelopes were handed out in the union office on Fridays, the bills counted carefully at the kitchen table to see if they'd stretch through the week. At night, The parish hall filled with voices during United Mine Workers meetings, men debating contracts or sharing news of another injury. Dust hazards and the grind of the job weighed on families, but steady wages paid for groceries, school shoes, and the hope that their children might one day work above ground. For many, the mine shaped not just a living, but the rhythm of family life. Life in Pennsylvania moved to the beat of its regions. In Pittsburgh, black and gold banners hung in every bar, and the city's pride soared with the Steelers' Super Bowl runs. Saturday afternoons meant pierogi dinners in church basements, recipes passed down from Polish and Slovak grandparents. In the Northeast, coal towns gathered for parish festivals and high school football, where rivalries stretched back generations. Philadelphia's corner delis served hoagies and soft pretzels, while block parties spilled into the streets after Phillies games. On Lancaster's farms, neighbors traded sweet corn and homemade pies at roadside stands. Each place carried its own rituals, giving every community a distinct flavor and a sense of belonging that felt unshakable. By 1978, front-page headlines in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and Johnstown Tribune-Democrat reported mill shift reductions and layoffs for the first time in years. Workers who once counted on overtime now watched bulletin boards for notices about cut hours. Tension over energy safety spiked in March 1979, when the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant near Harrisburg suffered a partial meltdown. News reports warned of possible evacuations, and for many Pennsylvanians, the old sense of security began to feel uncertain. Today, Pennsylvania's old mill towns still echo with pride and uncertainty. As industries rise and fall, a community's identity is never guaranteed. The past keeps shaping who we become. Thanks for watching.